to everybody that was involved, but we've got a good group here today, but honestly, there's 3 or 4 times as many people that were involved, a lot of them heavily, so I wanted to, first of all, thank everybody for everything we got accomplished this year. If you just look around the church, you can see it. Kind of go through I've got a little list here I had to make for everything we did this year, so just a couple of things. And I definitely feel like, for me at least, this has been a great way to improve our community feeling here in the church. I've got to know a lot of you people. Closely. Some of you are pretty cool, some not. But to start off with, why do we volunteer? And for me, it's, in terms of building and ground, it's just to establish a place, maintain a place where people can come and worship, and for those that don't know Jesus, to get to know Him. And it's not exactly fun to come out on Saturday and do a bunch of work and get nasty and get dirty. All of us would prefer to be fishing or doing something else, but we come here, at least for myself, speaking for myself, that's why I'm here, just to try to do something good. That would hopefully lead somebody to Christ, or at least have a place where we can grow as Christians. I'm going to go through a list of what we did briefly. I'm going to mention some names. I'm not trying to exclude anybody. I'll forget people. Please bear with me, but just off the top of my head, there were some people that were involved. General maintenance of the church, and what I'm talking about is just like if Connie needs a sign hung, or a bulletin board put up, or the grass mowed. We've got to take hats off to Brad and Dick. Have been very good about taking care of our lawn. It's a huge job, and when you show up Sunday, it's all done. I don't think people know what it takes to get it done. So those guys are in here every week, and others, taking care of that. So we appreciate it. The sign landscaping, the sign itself. The sign was a big project, big accomplishment this year. Gary Norman was heavily involved. Bob Michaelis, Dick was involved. Sign landscaping was courtesy of Vic. Steve Carmichael and Bob was out there working on it. Trench, we tried to salvage the power that was going out to the sign. And Gary Norman was here, and Ron Ross was here. About the better part of an entire day working on that. We were digging it. We got it fixed, and then it quit working, so we had to redo it anyhow. But we at least gave it a shot. Steeple clean. I don't know if any of you had noticed, it was a mess. We got it cleaned up. Gary Norman was involved in that, and then we painted it. That was Juan Castro, again Gary Norman. I think Felix was up there as well, so a lot of people involved in that. Parking lot lights, Darren Kwan and Gary Norman. We got new LED parking lot lights. Pavilion Electric, that was Gary Norman. So these lights and switches and everything, he didn't do it all, but he made it happen as far as getting the estimates, making arrangements and everything. Pavilion roof, that was a month ago or so. That was a lot of fun. Whoever the foreman was did it during a rainstorm. We got a few stains on the ceiling now, but we can remedy that with some paint. The roof
took a couple hours.
Yeah, like 2 hours tops. 2 hours tops. But the guy that's not here, I wanted to mention, who's a quiet guy. You wouldn't know that he does a lot, but Robert Dickinson. He was up there, really talented. He just works so hard. It was him and many others were here that day, but a lot of good stuff. Dean, you were here, heavily involved on the pavilion roof and the siding there on the end. You and Gary. Yeah. Gary Norman did all this, redid all this fascia and soffit on this out here. We had to tear it off when we did the roof, so he took care of that pretty much all on his own. I wanted to mention the retention pond. Rob Lance was in on that. Tracy Bailey, who's not here, he was heavily involved in that, and then Dean was down there with me. That's a mess if you've ever done it. It's, we let it go too long, and it gets that high, and it's just a nightmare. So that was a hot, sweaty day. Mulch and landscaping, John Edmonds, Brad Dixon. I just call people sometimes and be like, hey, meet me at the church, let's do something. And those guys answered the call that day, so thank you. Parking lot, Bob Howard was involved in that. Josh Thompson was involved in that. Josh was kind of my inside man here on some of these big projects. If I couldn't make it, he would meet estimators and contractors and that kind of thing, so appreciate that. tree trimming and tree work. Tracy Bailey probably saved us $2,000 or $3,000 worth of tree work this year. Around the playground, took a couple out back here, and he also trimmed just the general maintenance stuff, shrubs and trees around the building, so I wanted to mention him. Roof estimates, we got our roof replaced this year. Bob Howard handled all that. You all know Bob Howard. So lots of people involved in different things. Playground fence, we could put those retention boards all the way around the inside perimeter. That was Gary Norman and Josh Thompson helped with that. Let's see. Retaining wall and drainage. If you all know anything about the building around back there where there used to be another driveway, we've always had water coming in the building. So we worked on that quite a bit. We dug a big ditch back there and regraded, tried to regrade, got everything working better. So that was mostly Gary Norman, and I helped on that some. We got electric to the shed now this year. Brad Dixon spent about a whole day helping me take junk and stuff out of the church that had been piling up for years, so thank you. He didn't intend to do that. He came up here to mow for like 10 minutes or something. Like, hey man, can you help me? So we were here most of the day doing that. So. The Hispanic Sunday School room, that was a big project. Claudia put the floor in down there, and she did a great job. Thank you for that. Juan, Felix, Gary Norman involved in that project as well. Ralph Dagnew painted down there quite a bit, so lots of good stuff. Embankment clearing. When we put our new sign in, we wanted to clean that bank off. Gary Norman and I and Juan Castro attacked that, so we need to do that again sometime. By the way, it's starting to grow up. So. Playground install, that was a big one, and I won't be able to mention everybody that was involved with that because it was a huge, big project, and I was really worried about it, to be honest with you, because we had taken on we could save some money by doing it ourselves, but that was a huge task, and we accomplished it in a day. So I'm really proud of how the church turned out with that. Did good things there. Dennis was heavily involved. Dennis Lankos. John Cheesebrew was not here today. He was heavily involved in that. Mike Rannigan worked like a dog all day out there. Steve Carmichael. Eric. We actually had Eric out there. Sorry, Eric. Eric worked hard. So again, I can't mention everybody. I'm not trying to exclude anybody. There's people that I'm not mentioning that were heavily involved in things, but just off the top of my head, there were some names that came into mind. That's really something to celebrate. Look at what we accomplished in a year. You know, it's an amazing amount of stuff we got done. Just to give you an idea, a rough estimate of what we saved financially by having people do it ourselves, so to speak. Pavilion roof, we saved $3,000 by doing it ourselves. Mowing and landscape maintenance saved us about $3,000. So Brad, Dick, thank you guys for that. We had an estimate done, and it's not cheap to get this property taken care of. So much appreciate that. The playground install, we saved about $7,000 by doing it ourselves. So that's big money. The tree work that Tracy Bailey did, probably at least $2,500, conservative estimate. Did the drainage improvement project, me and Gary around back there, you know, nothing huge, but you know, I could say if you had to pay somebody to do it, it'd be $1,000 at least, you know. So just in those handful of things there, and that doesn't encompass by no means everything we accomplished this year. We saved about 15 grand there. So you know, it's big money in what we do here in volunteering, so it's a good thing. I don't have them with me. I left it in my truck. Oh no. Okay. Couple special mentions. I wanted to highlight a couple people that have just been awesome in helping me get things done around here. One of them's not here, unfortunately. One that I'll go ahead and mention is Gary Norman. It's amazing. He's a pillar of the church. Without him, stuff wouldn't get done. He sees something broken inside, he just takes initiative and does it. So I wanted to give him special recognition. I call him, you know, for something, and he's there. He shows up, he comes and does it. He stays with it till it's done. So you see him, just pat him on the back, tell him thanks for all that he does around here. Because again, if we had to pay somebody like Gary for all that he does, it would just, you know, we'd be having a full-time employee. And secondly, I wanted to mention Brad Dixon here. Brad will hate me for doing this. Brad's quiet, doesn't talk a whole lot, but I just had to say thank you for everything you've done, man. I appreciate it. Again, he takes care of the mowing, grounds maintenance, with the help of others. Dick's been very good to be here as well on that. But I pretty much, Brad handles it. I don't have to worry about it. And as the building and grounds person, that's just huge, But that's a weekly thing that has to get done. And he's always helping Connie. I wanted to mention that as well. Connie will say, do this or do that for me. And, he's here doing it. He's here multiple times a week, not just once a month or even just once a week. So I wanted to say thank you, and I have a small gift for you, man. I meant to have it here with me. But so those two, they both hate me for highlighting them. That's okay. They deserve it. So did a great job. In closing, a couple things here, then we can have cake, and I'll be quiet. It appears I'll be taking a different position in the church next year. That's at least a possibility right now. So it'll be somebody else that takes over this role. And most people aren't as obnoxious and bothersome as I am to keep calling when you're going to be here, that kind of thing. So if it's somebody unlike me that's more quiet, more reserved, just know when they put out these communications to be here on a work day or be here for a special project, try your best to be here and help them, because whoever does this job takes on a huge responsibility trying to keep everything going. So just try to get out and help whoever that is and get behind them. I wanted to thank CLT. Our CLT members have a couple of representatives here with Bob and Ralph. Whenever I went to them with a project, did I miss anybody else? I don't think so. If I go to them with a project, they said yes. So as long as you had a good idea and followed the guidelines of the church as far as getting estimates and that kind of thing, they said yes. And Eric said yes. And that seems like a small thing, but it's not. You have people that want to do things and make things happen, and it takes a whole group of people to get behind you to make that happen. So I wanted to say thank you to those folks. A couple of future projects, and this may not be under me, it may be under somebody else. We've got several trees in our landscape beds here that look pretty shabby. Some cherry trees. I don't know if the soil doesn't agree with them or what the deal is. We probably need to replace some of those. Benches in the playground. We're going to work on getting the lights along that concrete walk hooked up to a timer where they come on automatically. So there's always stuff to be done. Pavilion here needs work. When it rains hard, we just have mud flowing across the floor here, so we need to do some kind of ditch. So there's tons of stuff to be done. Again, just thank you all so much for everything you did this year. I really appreciate it. It really warmed my heart to see people show up and work like they did. And that's pretty much all I have. Anybody else?
I'd like to say, without you, none of it would have happened. So we want to give you a round of applause.
And also, we want to thank Jennifer for the support that she's given, because she cut him loose and let him, even though he's Mr. Arms, and that's cool. But she really has helped out in supporting him.
Listen, she deserves sainthood.
Sainthood. Yeah.
Should have had her in here. That's my bad. Thank you, Bob.
You told me to do that.
Now, I'll be up here some weeks spending hours at a time, and when I'm up here or doing something around the church, I'm obviously not working at home or taking care of something at home. Things can pile up. So she's patient with me and allowed me to do that. So,
It's in his performance appraisal.
So thank you all again. Let's have some cake and stay as long as you want. Listen to some good music. Hang out by the fire. Before you leave, though, if you help me take some of this stuff back, that would be good. So, thank you.